And we are back here on the Talk with AVC. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We've now reached our second segment of the day, and this one I'm going to be talking a little bit of March Madness and a little bit of baseball. So, I had Mikey Terzakis, who I consider to be kind of like a amateur March Madness expert. If you haven't seen that whole thing, please go to check that out. That was on last week's edition. Be ready to see. So, the madness is officially back. We've gotten plenty of upsets this year. Shout out to Oral Roberts. This is just great to watch. Sadly, Iona did fall to Alabama. However, I think it was a much better game than people anticipated. I'm not sure how much I'm actually allowed to break down the game on air because I think that's kind of a conflicting mission statement issue, I've been told, but we'll see. I'm just going to say we did definitely have a shot. And given how Maryland played against Bama, I think Iona actually had a chance to make the Sweet 16 if they beat Bama. But unfortunately, they didn't. So, looking at some of the bigger upsets, I mean, Ohio State. What on earth? Busting everybody's brackets by losing to Oral Roberts. Yeah, that was bad. I don't think it's worth sending the star point guard death threats, but that's just me. It's a game of basketball, guys. Come on. If you bet that much money, that's on you. The other great story, I mean, Loyola Chicago. It's nice to see. I actually think they were underseeded coming into this whole thing. And then from the New York end, how about Syracuse knocking off Oklahoma State? I mean, pretty cool to see. You know, Syracuse is always one of those weird upset teams that you see a lot of times. That's pretty nice. Rutgers, you finally won a March Madness game for the first time in like I don't know how many years. It's been like forever, and then you lose by 3 to Houston. Well, thanks for playing. Michigan continues to be Michigan. USC, led by Evan Mobley, looks pretty good. They knocked off Kansas, which was impressive, and they blew them out, too. Iowa once again disappoints. Can someone explain to me the Luka Garza hype? Because I just don't get it. He looks like a stat pad to me. I just don't see what people see in him. I always see him on my highlights, and I just don't get it. You know, someone will have to explain that to me. Ohio, you disappointed me. You won your first round. Your start point guard played really well, and then we get into round 2 and you get whopped by Creighton. Really? I mean, Creighton's not a bad team, but I expected a bit more than 72 to 58. That was pretty depressing. And of course, Gonzaga has been advancing, steamrolling everybody. I'm still sticking with my pick that I think Gonzaga is going to ride this undefeated train to the final matchup and win. It just when you get in these COVID situations and you get in these tournament situations, the best team tends to win when there's all this adversity. I think Gonzaga is the best team. But we'll see. It's March Madness. You never know. One game for everything. That's why everybody loves it. So there was also a controversial issue that happened during the whole tournament. And I feel that as a sport person who's talking sports, I can't ignore it. I need to actually talk about it. Even though it's kind of an odd topic. So, not really odd, but you'll understand in a second. So, lately in the NCAAs, student athletes have been vocal about a number of different things. However, one of these is the treatment of women's sports at the collegiate level. And I get it. Look, you're at the collegiate level. You're on the same. You're on a scholarship too, just like the male athletes, especially with basketball, where everybody's on a scholarship, pretty much. And you feel you should be treated the same. The tournaments for the women's is in San Antonio. The men's is obviously in Indiana. At the women's tournament, so apparently what happened is the female team went to work out, and they thought they saw this joke of a weight room. If you've seen the video is all up over social media if you want to go see it. Basically, it's just a rack of small little weights, about no heavier than like 20 pounds. So it was kind of comedic, but a little more research into the situation shows that somebody messed up here. Whether it was the coaches in not communicating what was going on to their players, or the NCAA in itself in not being clear in what they were doing. So basically, in the manual that was covering the kind of like an itinerary for the event for the coaches, the do's and don'ts and what's going to be available, they were trying to make it clear that the weight room for the women's, and again, why this is the case, it doesn't make sense to me, but this is what the manual has basically said. The weight room equipment for the women would not arrive until the Sweet 16. I personally don't get that, but that apparently was what was written. And did nobody communicate that to the players? The room that they were in, that's in the video, was never, according to the NCAA, this may be total crap, but I don't know. I'm reporting what I have heard, what I have read, and what I have researched. The room that the video was shot in was apparently never supposed to be a actual weight room. It was supposed to be it was like kind of a cool down room, or like a practice cool down room. It was supposed to be like a pre-practice room because there's a practice court right next to it. There is a section that was kind of spaced out with chairs so people could sit down and relax. I don't understand half the COVID protocols at March Madness, but I'll just leave it at that because it's a little all over the place. Players have to wear masks on the bench with each other, but then they go right on the court with a net. I don't get it. Whatever makes you able to put on this tournament, NCAA. By the way, congrats on VCU. You're the first team ever to get bounced from March Madness due to disease. Well done. But back to the whole treatment of women's thing. Look, absolutely, in these situations, in these tournaments, it's the biggest tournament of the year for both. They should be given the same amount of equipment. It's not. You can't tell me it's not in your budget. It's not in these schools' budgets. You can't tell me that. So I don't get it personally, but one thing I do request is that before you go on a tirade against an organization or against an institution or against a group of people, please do a little bit of independent research first. I think that would help a lot of people. That's just me. And the other big NCAA issue that's been coming is the hashtag not NCAA property. Am I allowed to talk about this on air? I feel like I can't talk about this. Is this something I'm supposed to talk about? Is this mission consistent? You give me the shoulder shrug. Is my mic gonna get cut? I'm messing with you, man. Yeah, so basically what this is NCAA players, there is a bill before Congress where NCAA players want to get certain, I don't even want to say rights, but certain abilities of things they can do back. For example, the main one is being able to earn money based off of your likeness. What that means is, for example, let's say you have a star athlete who also happens to be a very talented singer. They cannot sell their music because the NCAA owns their likeness. Does that make sense? The other thing that's an issue with this whole thing is the lack of ability to take outside money. Now, I think it's different depending on each school, each team. It seems to be a little bit different depending on where you go. Some places are more strictly enforced about it than others. But the one analogy was, it was a D1 athlete, and his best friend from high school couldn't even take him out to dinner and pay for the dinner because he can't accept outside money. So it's a tricky situation. I'm not going to get too much into it because I am at an NCAA D1 college, so I prefer not to get taken off the air. But it's an interesting subject. If you want to do your research in, I'd go check that out. Now we got about 5-6 minutes left in this segment. We're going to quickly shift over to Major League Baseball. And like I said, we got 10 days till opening day, so I promise once, probably next week, I will get more into MLB. I will probably reserve a full segment for it because there'll be less teams for March Madness. We're having kind of another sports equinox. I don't know what the word is I was looking for, but we're having another sports kind of explosion in the sense that there's so much stuff happening at once. So bear with me here, guys. I know you want to hear me talk baseball. So let's go brief here. The Yankees. How is the injury bug starting already? We're not even out of spring yet, and the injury bug's already coming for us. We got Zach Britton down. Clint Frazier might have a mysterious injury. We don't know. Justin Wilson. What? Why? Why, baseball gods? Why? Yankees, this is your best shot to win the AL since probably 2009. Please don't blow this. You are by far and away the best team in the AL. You may lose in the World Series, but you're the best team in the AL by far if you're healthy. Please, for the love of God, find a way to stay healthy. Oh, boy. So just to get these out of the way with the season coming around, I'm just going to make some quick playoff predictions. Now, remember, we are now back to the traditional setting where 3 division winners make it in, and then we have 2 wildcard teams. So it's not the 8-team playoff thing. Oh, we're going to have a lockout, and I'm going to be sad. So everybody, please enjoy this season of baseball because we're probably going to get a work stoppage for the next season, and it's going to be a delayed season. So enjoy this season of baseball since we're going to have it. In the AL East, call me biased all you want. I don't care. Yankees. Look, Blue Jays, I like you, but you're not ready yet. Pitching staff needs more work, and the young guys need to develop consistency. That will come. Springer will help. You will be in contention for a wild card spot. I just don't see it this year. Maybe you'll surprise me. Tampa, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll probably grab a wild card spot. I don't love the Blake Snell trade. But you got Luis Patino back, which is a great haul for him. And Wander Franco is nearing ready to debut in the MLB. So maybe you'll have a star shortstop or third baseman or second baseman, wherever Franco's going to end up playing. Maybe Randy Rosarina will harness that same magic, though I would be shocked. I was shocked that the Rays didn't trade him in the offseason. I am expecting Randy Rosarina to be gone. First chance they think they get a good offer. That's just something I see Tampa doing. As far as Baltimore and Boston, I'm actually more bullish on Baltimore than I am on Boston. I think Baltimore's got a lot of interesting young pieces. They're doing a solid rebuild. Just show some progress and you'll be fine. I'm more bullish than the analytical thing that said they have a 0% chance of winning the division. No one ever has a 0% chance. Boston, what are you doing? You're just a mess. You know, you lost your entire starting outfield from that World Series team. When are they just ship off Bogarts already? You know what's going to happen. You're blowing it up. Ship off Devers, Bogarts, and Martinez and let them ride out the end of their career somewhere else. You're not going to be able to trade Chris Sale unless he returns to form, which I find unlikely. Maybe you'll compete with your bats, but your pitching is so god-awful that it's going to hold you back. AL Central. Minnesota. I've said before on this show, I'm never getting on a Minnesota hype train until they win a playoff game. So next, Chicago White Sox. I think this is the best team in the division. I think this team could compete for the ALCS. I could definitely see an ALCS of New York and Chicago. I would have New York winning that. I like the Liam Hendricks signing. I think your bats are very deadly. I'm not sure about Tony La Russa as the manager, but we'll see. Just continue to show development, and hopefully Jose Abreu doesn't fall off a cliff or anything. because that would suck. Cleveland, get out of my sight. Get your penny pinching selves out of my sight. You'll probably compete for a wild card, but I don't give a crap about you anymore. Go change your name to the Penny Pinchers at this point. Jesus. I'm not covering Kansas City and Detroit. Just show progress in your rebuild and you'll be fine. The AL West. Oakland, why are you the way that you are? I understand you lost Hendricks and you lost Semien and you replaced them with cheaper versions of Elvis Andrews and revamped Trevor Rosenthal. Fine. You probably could be for a wild card. You're getting bounced first round. Are you content with this, Oakland? Are you content? I mean, at least you kept Billy Beane, but you're just going to keep getting bounced first round of the playoffs. You've never built a roster that can go deeper than that. I still have Houston winning this division. Even without Springer, I mean, that lineup might be a little bit compromised, and so might that pitching be. But who else in this division? Seattle? It might be fun to watch, but they'll probably be like a 60, 70 win team. I don't see them doing anything. The Angels don't have the pitching, even if Shohei stays healthy. And don't even get me started on Texas. So, no. All right, NL. Going for some rapid fire here, guys. NL East. This division is going to be a bloodbath. It could be Atlanta. It could be the Mets. It could be Philadelphia. I'm going to take the safe pick here. I'm going to go with Atlanta. They came a game away from beating the Dodgers. This is a good team. Still have solid pitching. The big thing for them is do some people come back healthy? Looking at you, Mike Soroka. Don't let me down. Miami, I think they'll be all right. I think they'll compete for a wild card. I just don't think without the expanded playoffs they'll make it in, but they're developing. Good job, Jeter. Phillies, that lineup last year was World Series caliber. Your pitching was awful. You actually addressed the pitching a little bit this year. Thank God. You won't have to rely on Hector Neris all the time. I just don't think you're better than the Mets or the Braves. Sorry. Mets, I think you'll be the top wild card in the NL, or the second wild card in the NL. You will either put it all together or you'll flame out in round one. Have fun. Washington, you look all right, but no, you're not better than any of the other teams. NL Central. Meet the cheapskates, the messes in Chicago, and then St. Louis. So this is St. Louis's. Arenado. Just shove it in Colorado's face, please. I could make a whole segment on that team. And the NL West, obviously, I have going to the Dodgers and I have the Padres getting the first wild card. So that's my playoff predictions for the MLB this year. Thank you all very much for watching this segment. I know it ran a little long, but it was a two-part thing. We will be back in a moment with a little brief NHL thing, and then we are going to the NBA. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next segment.